you come to Just Badela and
Yes.
you don't go back and say, I enjoyed my steak or I enjoyed my meat,
Yes.
then I can tell you now, you are not at Just Badela.
Yes.
Hey, inyama yalapha imnandi Maria dura.
Is that true though?
Well, I don't know what do they mean when they say it's
Iyadura.
expensive. So Just Badela is a hybrid between what you'll call fine dining and Chisa Nyama.
In July, yeah?
In July 2021, we restarted the business because
Were you affected by the riots, by the way?
yes, we were ransacked.
Oh, no, man.
Basically, everything that you see here,
Yes.
we had to restart.
Yes.
Whilst traveling in a taxi, I was not mugged, but I experienced somebody that was mugged in front of me.
In Spain, of all
In Spain,
places.
yes, in
Yeah.
Malaga.
One more week, one more episode with myself, Theo Mapheto. This is the Professionals Network podcast. We bring you professionals from all walks of life. Today, we bring you a restaurateur. We are in Soweto. We've told you this is a podcast where we like what we do and we do what we like. I have with me Mr. Dumile Badela, right in Soweto. How are you, sir?
I'm very cool. And yourself?
Good, good. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're a very hard man to find, man.
Yeah, well, what can I say?
Busy.
I move in between and betwixt.
Excellent, excellent. So we are at the premises of Just Badela. That's a beautiful name. What's the inspiration behind the name?
Well, Just Badela emanates from a family name.
Yeah.
As you have welcomed me, I think you said Dumile Badela.
Yes.
Badela is my family name.
Yes.
So when we were putting the concept together, we decided on a commercial name, and we said it's going to be Just Badela.
Wonderful.
I can't interpret Just Badela.
Yeah.
Just Badela means you are unique in your own way.
Yes.
As Badela.
Yes.
So when we say Just Badela, it's like there won't be any ever Badela, but
Yes.
one Just Badela.
One Just Badela.
Yes.
You are based in Soweto.
Yes, we are based here in Soweto.
Is this where you were born?
I was born in Soweto. I was born and bred in Soweto. Though I come from deeper Soweto, they call it Kamshaya Azafe Mdeni,
Yes.
Zolamdeni. My parents had a place in Pimville.
Yes.
And then, during those days, there was something called a stand.
Yes.
Then you get a stand and you get relocated because a house has been allocated for you.
Yes.
Basically, that's how I moved to Mdeni.
Yes.
So I was born and bred in Soweto in a location called Mdeni.
Mdeni.
Yes.
Yes. So you own this restaurant, right?
Yes.
When was this established?
This restaurant was established in 2016. Just Badela as a brand was established in 2012.
Yeah.
Because we used to run a small outfit. It was a community a community butchery.
Yeah.
Where we sell off-premise. Basically, people will come
Yes.
and buy what is traditionally known as isishebo.
Yeah, yeah.
And we specialize in meat, and we're very popular during that time
Yeah.
for serving the best meat at the time.
Yeah.
So that was...
I hear you're still serving some good meat, man. You've not offered me meat yet, though.
Well, if you come
I'm still
to
waiting.
If you come to Just Badela and
Yes.
you don't go back and say, I enjoyed my steak or I enjoyed my meat,
Yes.
then I can tell you now, you are not at Just Badela.
Yes. What kind of meats do you offer here?
Well, our very signature, and I trust me, if you don't eat the signature, really I would tell you then you don't have the experience of Just Badela. So our signature meat, or what I would call a meal,
Yes.
that introduces introduces anybody to Just Badela is called the ox tongue.
Yes.
Not oxtail,
Yes.
ox tongue.
Yeah, that's a signature
That's the
meal.
signature meal.
Wonderful.
You can get ox tongue in many places.
Yes.
I don't want to mention or promote other places, but there are many places that offer ox tongue. Yeah. But if you come to Just Badela and you don't eat the ox tongue, I can guarantee you were not at Just Badela.
Wonderful. So for somebody like me who's allergic to red meat, what can they have as a substitute?
Well, in business, there's something called stick to the knitting.
Yeah.
We don't want to do what we can't do.
Yes.
We want to do something that we know that we've got competence in doing.
Yeah.
Having said that, we always strive to ensure that our customers are happy. So obviously there will be an exception.
Yes.
If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, surely we'll find an alternative in providing you with maybe a salad, a steamed veg, or baked potato, or chips, garlic bread. We'll always find an alternative for you to be here. But what we are primarily known for is meat.
Meat.
And what people will tell you in the streets and everywhere, they will say, hey, inyama yalapha imnandi Maria dura.
Is that true though?
Well, I don't know what do they mean when they say it's expensive. Because our pitch is at a level of comparing with the restaurants like Butcher Shop, Grill House, Ten and Tender.
So that's your competition?
That's my competition in terms of providing a meat.
Yes.
But if they say I'm expensive, probably they need to look at my price and the prices of the restaurants that I've just mentioned.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned some premium brands. I've got to tell you, your brand is quite a beautiful brand. The premises are beautiful. Where in Soweto is this, by the way?
Number 11546.
Yes.
546.
11546.
Konangwe
Konangwe
and Mtipa.
And Mtipa.
Orlando West Extension.
There you have it.
And normally, when we give you a point of reference, we say we're not very far from Winnie Mandela's house or Buntu Krol.
Yes. Wonderful. So you are located right in Soweto. What's the motivation for that? What's the thinking behind that?
Well, Just Badela is a brand. It's inspired by the township. I don't know how many questions are still going to follow, and I don't want to jump the gun.
No. It's a discussion between two brothers. So say it like we are at a dinner table.
Yes.
It's not an interview.
Yeah. So basically, maybe should I give you a background of what Just Badela stands for?
Yes.
So Just Badela is a hybrid between what you'll call fine dining and Chisa Nyama. Other people say we are a Chisa Nyama, other people call us a restaurant. So I regard Just Badela as something in between, something very unique, because we look at what Chisa Nyama offers in terms of properties. I'm not going to go into detail, but we also look at what fine dining restaurants will offer you. And Just Badela is right in the middle.
Yes.
So there are certain things that we like about Chisa Nyama. There are certain things that we like about fine dining. So when we coined Just Badela as a brand, we said we're going to combine the two, fine dining and Chisa Nyama, into one, and we're going to select things that we like from either of the two and put something called a unique hybrid Just Badela model.
Wonderful. Yeah. I remarked that you are based right in Soweto. What's the motivation for that, by the way? Do you have any other locations apart from Soweto?
Well, we've got two locations. And obviously Soweto is the heartbeat of the brand, because this is where the concept was conceptualized, and this is where the concept started. And most people would prefer to find themselves in Soweto. But as part of our future growth, because our ambition and vision is to become a global brand. And we believe that if you want to become a global brand, you must be in various locations.
Yes.
So last year, I think in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, in August, we opened our very, very first second location, which is in Midrand, in a shopping center called Bluehills, opposite Savannah Estate. Our restaurant is located between Ocean Basket and Cappuccino, and that's where we said we are now trying to reach out to the market in terms of accessing the North market.
Yes.
But the heartbeat remains Soweto.
Yes. Now, you've been running this for quite a while. Tell me about the challenges that you experience.
Well, we've been running that since 2012, as I said. We opened this very restaurant that we are at now in 2016. And obviously the challenges have been very, 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 how can I put it? Something that sometimes when you look down, you say, I don't know how I managed to reach that corner.
Yes.
For example, when there was riots, I think was it in 2021?
In July, yeah?
In July 2021. We restarted the business because...
Were you affected by the riots, by the way?
Yes, we were ransacked.
Oh, no, man.
Basically, everything that you see here,
Yes.
we had to restart.
Yes.
Though we started in 2016, 2017, then when the riots came in, they broke into the property, they took everything from a glass to a chair, and we had to restart. So we restarted in 2021, but we carried on because we believed in the vision.
Yes.
And here we are today, we still exist.
Yes. So apart from the challenge that you experienced during the riots, do you have any other challenges in terms of running the business? Is the location fine for you? You did say that the location is perfect, but do you have other challenges that you're experiencing? So if somebody wants to run a restaurant, for instance, what should they be looking out for?
Maybe let's start by saying, let's look and reflect on my own challenges as a restaurant.
Yeah.
As you can see, we are isolated. That's how confident we are when we started the concept.
Yeah.
There are plenty of restaurants, and those restaurants are located in one street called the popular Villagas.
Yeah.
As you can see...
Vilagazi Street is the only street in the world where you have two Nobel laureates, Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela.
100%.
Yeah, it's not too far from here, right?
It's not too far from here.
Yeah.
But if you look at this street, it's called Nkwe Street.
Yes.
Because it's Mtipa and Nkwe Street.
Yes.
There was nothing here. We started a brand called Just Badela. We don't have any restaurant.
There was nothing here.
Yeah.
There
was nothing here. There was just two small dwellings here.
Yeah.
And when I say there was nothing, there was no restaurant, unlike Villagas.
Yes.
Villagas, when you started from the north or the south, or from the south to
the whole
north,
street is lined
the
up
whole
with...
street is lined up with the restaurants.
Yeah.
So if you come, for example, today, and you open a restaurant in Villagas, you already have a traffic.
Yeah.
In here, there was nothing. So basically, people who come here are people who are saying, I want to come to Just Badela.
Yes.
Because there's no other attraction that brings them into the area.
Yes.
So I'm isolated all by myself. So to go back to your question, to say, what are the challenges? The challenges have always been, I'm doing a concept, or I'm building a restaurant, or I'm building a brand where there is no other low-hanging fruit that I can rely on in order for me to develop or to strive.
Yes.
So for me, it has always been, when you gamble,
Yes.
it's called do or die.
Yeah.
So basically, I said, because I believe in the concept, I'm capable of opening a restaurant in an isolated place
Yeah.
that will one day become a global brand. And here we are today. We're still in Soweto, but we are equally as competitive as the restaurants that you'll find in a popular street called Vilakazi.
I'll tell you what, it shows signs of becoming a global brand. Today is Thursday. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening, and the place is a buzz, eh?
It is a buzz because we have always believed that the restaurant is not about you buying food and buying alcohol or beverages, if you want to call it that way. The restaurant is about the reason why the people must come. As a consequence of them visiting you, they will automatically have something to eat and drink. That's the reason we always make sure that there are some other things that attract people to come to our restaurant. Like today, we've got what we call the unique concept that we call Just Walk at Night in Soweto, which is going to take place now at about 18 hours, where we're going to walk 3 kilometers, come back, and when we come back here, there's going to be live music, and we can listen to live music with a piece of meat and a glass of wine.
Oh, nice. The live music offering that you have, is it every day? Or is
It's
it?
not every day. It depends on what we want to put for the day. Today we've decided that we're going to call a very young and upcoming female band. On Sunday, by the way, we had blues or Afro blues.
Yes.
And
This past Sunday.
this past Sunday.
Yeah. We are in September 2023, so that you make a mental note of this. September 2023. Today is the 7th of September on a Thursday. So this past Sunday must have been the 2nd or the 3rd.
It was actually you're correct.
Yes.
It was the first Sunday of September.
Yes.
Or first Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
We had something called Afro Blues. It was buzzing here. I don't know how many people were here, but we were hosting Afro Blues with Smoke. I don't know whether you know Smoke Train.
Yeah.
And he was also in collaboration with some Spanish musicians.
Nice.
So we played here.
So you are international, boss?
Well, as I said, we aspire.
Yeah.
We are inspired by the township vibe, but we aspire to become a global brand.
Yeah. So what's the capacity of this place?
Well, if I take it in a very casual sense of the word, because we've got this section here, which is not very popular, but depending on the weather, when it's cold.
Why is it not popular?
Because people always want to sit outside where there's on the other section where is the view. So the other section where's a view, probably we can take up to 100, 110.
Yeah.
And in here we can take maybe 30 to 50 people.
Yeah.
And if you add that, it becomes almost 160.
Yes.
Then we've got a private room that we are busy building. And we're hoping to God somebody who can come and become a main sponsor can put that room into like a business environment, a business-friendly, a community-friendly environment. And we're hoping once it's done, it can accommodate another 50 people. So give and take, 210 people
That's
can
a lot.
occupy.
That's a lot. So, now, there is perceptions or misperceptions that Soweto is not a safe place to be at. So you might potentially be having people watching this podcast who like the sound of this, but for some reason are afraid of coming to Soweto. What do you say to that?
Well, I would say I'm well-traveled. I've traveled in Europe, I've traveled in America, I've traveled in Asian countries. And when people talk about the safety of Soweto, sometimes it's just a perception. And a perception sometimes people can change it into a reality when it's not actually a reality. I'll tell you, traveling in Spain, for example, those ovens, the 2 ovens that you see there,
Yeah.
which actually are the main drivers of our product, because we can buy from within the house. I discovered them when I was traveling in a place called Malaga, which is the south of Spain. And once I discovered those ovens, I said, one day I'm going to import them into South Africa and create a restaurant. On the very same day.
Did you have a restaurant at the time?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yes. But you had the vision.
We had a vision. But at the time of discovering those ovens, whilst traveling in a taxi, I was not mugged, but I experienced somebody that was mugged in front of me.
In Spain, of all
in Spain,
places.
yes, in Malaga,
Yeah.
where the window was broken and the purse was taken, and I was traumatized. And one of the things I said, anywhere in the world, incidents
Mara,
like
when
that-
out clever Soweto, you couldn't have been traumatized. Come on.
I was traumatized because I thought Spain will never ever have anything close to being hijacked or close to being mugged.
Yeah.
So when you say somebody is thinking out there that in Soweto is not safe, I'll make a practical example. Today I hosted the chairman of Delheim Wines. He's the board. He's the chairman of the board of Delheim Wines.
Yes.
He was having a lunch with me. He was driving in his own car.
Yes.
When he was going out, he asked for direction. Of course, I helped him, and we put the directions in his GPS. And he traveled back to Usantin.
Yeah.
When he arrived at his house, he called me just now and told me that he's safe at his house.
Yes.
So whoever says Soweto is a risky place, when people can travel as an individual to and from to Soweto, enjoy a piece of steak, glass of wine, and drive their own car and go back and still say we had a good time,
Yes.
then it tells you that this thing about Soweto being violent, about Soweto being a risky place, is a misnomer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at the parking space. How much parking do you have here?
Well, it depends, because in here, in front of us, there's a land that is owned by the city of Johannesburg, or what you call Johannesburg Property Company.
Yes.
We've been trying to get a piece. There's about 3 pieces, and then there's a soccer field.
Yes.
Then it depends on the day. If, for example, there's a day where there's lots of people, maybe there's more than 300 cars that are coming to the venue,
Yes.
and there's no activity on the soccer field,
Yes.
then it's easy to park, because we just get the car guards to come and reorganize the place, and the cars can park all over here.
Yeah.
And the 300 cars can easily park here. But when there is soccer match, obviously there will be
Yes,
constraints.
yeah.
But we still navigate through it. I don't think there's ever been a time when we had an event or a big event and people said we're running out of parking
There's
space.
plenty of space. Eh?
There's plenty of space.
Yeah. Now, I want us to segue into a discussion about Badela, the person. Right? So there was a time where you obviously didn't own the restaurant, right? What led to this passion for a restaurant?
Well, I've done many things as a businessman. And you know how it
So
goes.
first things first, you are a businessman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as a businessman, I've been involved in many ventures before this one.
Yeah.
And little did I know that this one brings the self in me. It brings who I am.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it. I don't see it as a job that is demanding. I can be here. For example, I work for almost, they will tell you my staff is here, my friends are here, everybody's here. They will tell you that I spend at least 15 hours at both the restaurants, mainly in Soweto, a day, and I work 7 days a week. So
It's a labor of love for you.
So yeah. So when I come to the restaurant,
So what time do you get to work?
normally I get to work depending on the day's demand. I'll be here maybe let's say 10, 10:30,
Yes.
11,
Yes.
and I would leave here probably. Sometimes I'm the last man to close the shop.
Yes.
And I'll be the first man to open it, because we've got 2 restaurants. It depends on the mood and the
Yes.
demand.
So you share your time in between the two
I share the
places.
time in between, yes,
Yeah.
the 2 restaurants.
So your average day, how does it look like? You get to the shop 10 o'clock or thereabouts. What do you do?
The average day starts with me planning at my house. I've got a small office where I start maybe early in the morning. I'm an early riser, depending on how much wine I consumed the previous night. But normally what will happen...
I see you've just downed a bottle there.
Well, it's not a bottle, it's a glass. And I can tell you a story about the glass, because I'm going to ask one of my waiters to bring another glass of my best wines. and
What wine is that, by the way?
It's a Chenin, it's a 221. It's something that I like, from very reasonable, value for money wine. Comes from Worcester. It's a farm called Alvis Thrift. I've had a relationship with them.
South African wine.
I only deal with South African wines. I don't deal with...
Nice.
I don't deal with wines that are outside the borders of South Africa.
By the way, what would you say to the debate, by the way, that French wine is better than South African? You know?
Well, to tell you the honest fact, I don't have an opinion on French wines because I don't drink them.
You don't take them at all?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I only concentrate on South African wines. Reason being, I'm proudly South African. I do South African meat, South African wine,
patriotic,
South African jazz.
Patriotic to a fault.
To the last.
So the wine that you stock here, South African?
It's all South African.
The meat, South African, you say?
It's all South African.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid. We get our meat from various places.
Yes.
I select the meat.
Before we get to the meat, you were telling me about the wine. There's a story that you wanted to tell me about the wine.
So if you look at all these wines that are lined up,
yeah,
there's plenty of them in the cellar. It's a pity this has obstructed the cellar.
Yeah.
This wine.
So there's a cellar behind the banner.
Yes, there's a cellar behind. And inside the cellar, we can actually sit about 10 people. So we can put a table where 10 people can sit, and we can all look and appreciate the different wines. There could be 1 or 2 wines that might be foreign, but we are not selling them.
Yes.
The main concentration is South African wines.
Yeah.
And if you look at South African wines, there's more than 10,000 brands.
Yeah.
When I say brands,
all from the Cape.
I would say mainly from the Cape. You could have, yes, mainly from the Cape. I wouldn't think of any wine that I sell that is outside the Cape.
Yes.
But obviously in the Cape there are different regions.
Yeah.
There's Durban Bluehills, there's Paarl.
Yes.
There's Constantia.
Yes.
There's French Hook. There's Worcester.
Yes.
There's plenty.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't like to dwell much. Yeah. But all those wine lands, Stellenbosch, for example, which is very popular and dominant, all those wine lands are subdivided. And if you go deeper into them, you will discover that we can have more than 10 to 11,000 brands of wines, meaning the brands as in names.
Yeah.
And we also have multiple varietals. Varietals means different grapes.
Yes.
For example, Shiraz, Cape Sauv, Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc, Grenache, and so forth.
Yeah.
So once you put that into the equation, then the 10,000 brands become maybe, I don't know, 70, 100, different kinds of wines.
Well, you go into town with the wines, but we are not here to talk about the wines. The wines is just one of the topics that we've got to discuss, right? The long and short of it is that if you want a taste of the wines, you must come here, enjoy them. Yeah. Let's talk about the meat, right? You say you source meat from South Africa.
Yeah, well,
different parts of the country.
Well, restaurants are about experience.
Yes.
And experience is how you define yourself. For example, if I want to go to a restaurant that is more house-orientated in music,
yes,
I would go to that restaurant. If I want to go to a restaurant where I can dine,
yes,
and there's high level of restaurant etiquette,
yes,
meaning that a fine dining restaurant,
yes,
then I know where to go.
I see.
So if you want to come to Badela's, specifically Just Badela, whether here or in our restaurant in Midrand, then your experience would be meat and wine.
Also, the ambience that I see here, it's deliberate. This is how you want it to be.
Exactly. Basically, I would say to add more on being deliberate is to say that is the purpose for which we exist as Just Badela.
Yes.
That is also a differentiator.
Yes.
So that if, for example, I'll make a simple analogy.
Yes.
There are times where you crave for Kentucky. There are times where you crave for chicken licking.
Yes.
There are times where you crave for Nando's.
Yeah.
When you crave for Just Badela, you're craving for meat, specifically meat that is fried.
Yes.
Though we've got a combination of dishes, including your own traditional, but you are craving, once you say Just Badela,
Yes.
you are craving for fried meat and a glass of wine, if not a bottle or two.
Now, this is the Professionals Network podcast. You are surely going to inspire a lot of young people. So let's say I'm an 8-year-old, right? 8-year-old, I want to be a chef or I want to own a restaurant in the future. What are the things that I should be looking out for? Theo Mapheto, this is your question, my boy. Yes.
This is very simple. You see, business is not always about, because the biggest mistake that youngsters, particularly today, because they are so exposed to social media, they can see a lot of successful people, be a person that plays soccer like Messi or Ronaldo,
Yes.
be a person who's into music like Jay-Z, Notorious B.I.G., be a person...
Hey man, you showing your age. You talking about Notorious B.I.G.
Well, I'm trying to explain because most of the youngsters of today are driven by what those people are generating in terms of money.
Yeah.
So when they look at the career, they look at somebody, okay, maybe let's talk about Usain Bolt, who's a runner.
Yeah.
Let's talk
A retired
about
runner.
A retired runner. Or maybe we should talk about Ivan Lendl, or we should have talked about...
We've just had a Women World Cup now. You should probably be talking about Thembi Kgatlana.
Okay, Thembi Kgatlana.
Yeah.
Normally, this is what I tell the youngsters. That's 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to break and make a career out of all those. But what defines your success as a person is to do what you are passionate about. And I'll make a simple example. Michael Jackson never said, I want to become a billionaire. Michael Jackson said, I want to dance. As a consequence of dancing, he became a billionaire. That's how you must reason it out. So Just Badela, for example, never said, I want to become a billionaire. But if Just Badela can buy the best meat and provide the best wines, And as a consequence of that, he becomes a billionaire.
I like what you're saying. What do they say? They say, find what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
100%. Like, I never get tired. I started working here this morning round about 6 because I was doing some emails and what have you.
Yes.
Here I am. I'm still going to walk and I'm still going to come and enjoy live music, save to the power of ESCOM.
Yes.
That is disrupting us, and hence there's a lot of...
I want you to talk about that, by the way. How much of a disruption has load shedding been to your business?
Very, very. In fact, if we were not as resilient and if we were not as people who said we really want to do this, would be out of business any time. Basically, to give you the number in perspective, especially now is stage 6. So in stage 6, we are spending almost 3,000 rands a day to make that generator to run in a normal...
So Just Badela would have a generator.
We have a generator.
That's a secondary power supply, right?
Yes.
Right? A backup.
A backup.
So you obviously switch on the generator when load shedding hits.
Yes.
And you've got to buy diesel or petrol for that.
For about 3,000. Today we're going to spend...
3,000 rands per day.
Per day. And then on a lighter...
Just to keep the lights going.
Just to keep the light going. If I didn't spend 300 rands today, wouldn't be having this interview.
Jeez.
That's the simplest. So if you want to check it and maybe do sums quickly, the amount, despite the fact that we've invested in a generator that is almost shy of 200,000.
Yes.
We also spend...
That's a lot of money.
...of making it to run close to anything between 60 to 90,000, if not 100,000 a month. And plus, we've got maintenance that we need to do because the generator is actually running for more hours than normal.
Jeez. So you mentioned load shedding. Load shedding is hopefully a temporary problem. But you have permanent factors that you've got to be cognizant of, like operational costs. When you're running a restaurant, what are the kind of regulations that one has to comply with?
There's plenty of regulation. First, as a restaurant, I must have what we call an acceptability certificate, which is more...
From the council?
From the council, which is more oriented...
So you get an acceptability certificate from the municipality?
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Which grants you a permission to cook.
Yes.
And then you've got a liquor license.
So you have to go to the liquor board to apply for a liquor license.
100%.
Right? Yes.
Then you've got to pay what we call some fees
Yes.
for playing music in public.
Yeah, because you can't just play people's music without permission, basically.
Then you've got
Right.
to get into some association, be it a bargaining council
Yes.
of the restaurants,
Yes.
be it something else. Then you also have to make sure that you belong to some associations,
Yes.
like RASA, which
Yes.
is a Restaurant Association
Of
of
South
South
Africa,
Africa,
yes.
so that you can be closer to the industry. The list goes on.
So all those costs you've got to contend with
100%.
if you want to establish and run a restaurant.
100%.
And over and above that, there are operational costs that you've got to contend with.
Yes.
You've got to have staff.
You've got to have
You've
staff.
got to pay the lights.
Got to pay the lights.
Yes.
I was talking to my staff this morning, and I was telling them that the study tells us that we need to pay lights for 4 hours even before we have our first order.
Yes.
Now, to pay lights for 4 hours and to burn the charcoal there,
Yes.
because you can't say, I'm going to wait for the first client to come,
Yes.
and then I'm going to start to make
No,
fire.
no.
You need to make fire. Sometimes you make fire.
And pray that a customer walks in.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the reason, and I like what you said, pray.
Yes.
So what we do is say, let's act and pray afterwards. I'll tell you what's the concept. Like today, we said, let's act, by creating an event and pray afterward that the event becomes successful.
Is this the guy who goes with you to buy vegetables?
Well, originally.
I see he wants to be on the camera.
Well,
he wants to hug you now. Yeah. No, thanks for sticking by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is my mentor, Chief.
That's your mentor.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm following his footsteps. We are taking this brand too far. Don't know.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
P, I'm behind you.
No, he's scared, but he's always harassing me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now he's well behaved now. Because he
sees the camera, he's scared. But he's also a real motivator, to be honest.
Wonderful.
Because he's always said to me, this brand must go beyond the boundaries of Soweto. Sometimes he comes to me, I'm talking about years. We used to go together, and then we go and buy vegetable at Fruit and Veg and what. We come back, we sit, we have a cup of cappuccino, and ever since then, yeah, we've got our fights, but we always, when he's around, we sit. Last Friday I was with him, and he was he was complaining that I'm dishing more than him because we're sharing a dish together. So that's how it goes. So we fight, and then we eat, and then we reconcile, and we move on.
Yes. Now, you were talking about how you started the brand. You obviously have a vision to expand and to grow the brand, right? What's your vision, say, for the next 5 years or so? Is this the wine that you've been talking about? I see you hiding it, but I want people to see it. What wine is that?
This wine is, I don't know why they didn't bring the bottle. Maybe they should bring the bottle.
Maybe they should, yeah?
It's my favorite wine.
Because we are at an eatery, we've got to see everything that you're offering here. You can't be hiding stuff behind the banner. Yeah. So what wine is that?
This wine is called 221. It's from a very remote area in the winelands called Alvis Drift. They've got various ties of wines. The first range is called Signature, and this is the second range is called Reserve, and this, if I'm not mistaken, is a third range which is called 221. And then there's a last range that is called Albertas Feldjun.
Albertas Feldjun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And then maybe for the sake of the listeners, on the 9th of November, we are launching the premium category of Alvis Drift. We have identified 3, and I'm working with the farm. And that launch or the campaign of the premium range of Alvis Drift is going to be right here at Just Badela.
On the 9th of
November, yes.
What day of the week is that?
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, but the 9th of November.
The 9th of November. And we're inviting about 100 guests. We're going to have live music, and we're going to showcase what the premium brand of Alvis Drift is in terms of lifestyle. In fact, we have all coined a concept that says, celebrate a life well lived.
Celebrate a life well lived.
That's the concept of. So I'm urging those who are interested to come to the launch. The cost of the ticket is going to be about $500, but it includes the food, the wines, the live music, plus prices on the day, which I find it very generous in terms of pricing.
Mr. Badela, we can talk all day long. It's been a pleasure. This is round 1. We should definitely have round number 2, right? Speak more, delve into the topic a bit deeper, right? Are you willing?
I'm very.
Are you keen?
I'm very keen.
Yeah.
Exposure is what we need. Yeah. But what I like is that it's important for you to communicate,
Yes.
so that the customers, when they come,
Yes.
or what I call just friends, because I don't call them customers,
Yes.
I call them just friends. When they come, they
Just
know
Badela,
just friends.
just friends.
Yes. They know what to expect.
Yeah.
And my proposition to you guys, I would say, as the professional network, I would be very happy if we do the second round in our next location, which is in Midrand Bluehills. Same setup, probably different questions, so that the viewers can experience both the locations of Just Badela as we stand.
There you have it, the Professionals Network podcast. We unearth professionals for you. We want you to be inspired. We hope that you are inspired. Keep the torch burning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.